it's more random. It'll start mattering probably around 3rd or 4th round. But as you can see, they're playing at a pretty good pace. Sam started out with a multi-civ in mana. Looks like Heretic Prince Baraka. And then he just passed, and they're just playing mana and passing. Sam right now is at, he put at 3 mana and played a Nyx. So now whenever he's playing dragons, he's going to get to draw a card and play them for 1 less mana. Jonah chooses to make the exact same play. Sam now puts Aqua Strider down into mana. Looks like he doesn't have a turn 4 play. Jonah does have probably the best turn 4 play in the deck, and to play Herald of Infernus, which is a level 5 dragon, but because of Nyx is 1 less, and he got to draw a card. Sam makes the exact same play. So right now, this is what you would definitely call a mirror match, as they are mirroring each other. Jonah makes a really great play in tapping down the Herald of Infernus with Lyra. Now it will not untap next turn.
Remember, you can commentate.
Okay. I was.
Okay. When you're done, I'll get those deck lists.
Okay. So I was just given the deck lists for both of these, and it does look like they are both, let's see, water, fire, and light. Yes, they're both water, fire, light. I think Sam has some nature in as well. So a lot has definitely happened. Let's see. Looks like a Lyra has been tapped down with a Lyra, which is a good play because that Lyra can definitely be doing some damage. Maybe next turn he'll crash a Lyra with a Lyra. And Samuel also has a General Skycrusher on field as well. It looks like he probably used its ability to banish a Nyx, I think. So Herald of Infernus destroys a Nyx, and because it won a battle, he can play a dragon from his hand for free. So he chose Infernus the Awakened, which then banishes a creature with 4,000 power or less, if possible, or he may. Now that card is a triple breaker, so right now Sam is not in the best position. Jonah has definitely gotten probably the best progression that the deck can do. It looks like he's getting Piercing Judgmented. So the Infernus gets bounced back to hand, and Lyra gets tapped down with the secondary effect of Piercing Judgment. So this puts Sam back in a little better of a position, as Jonah cannot recast that Infernus the Awakened immediately. And his Herald of Infernus is now gone. Now Jonah plays General Finbar to bounce back the Skycrusher to hand. So now Sam has absolutely no field presence, leaving Jonah perfectly capable of just rushing in and attacking those shields. Looks like Infernus the Awakened goes down in mana for Sam. Definitely not a card that you want to be losing. And he plays Andromeda, which now I can definitely see why he did that. Andromeda is probably the best play at this point. Gives him 2 more shields, so a little bit more life. And now with the Awestrike ability, Jonah will have to attack basically twice as much, as there is, he has to tap a creature that is untapped every time he wishes to attack shields. But Jonah just bounces it back to hand with Piercing Judgment, which leaves him free to attack the shields and go in for game. So it looks like Jonah wins game 1. So now the record is 1 Jonah, Sam 0. So our players have shuffled back up, and they're about to play game 2. They're now cutting each other's decks. If you are watching and you wish to contact me, you can do it through Twitter, tweet at Kerwin Game Store, and I will see it, and I can answer any questions that you may have. Looks like Sam chose to go first, so he did not draw, but he got to play Multi-Civilization Aqua Strider. Now he has 3 mana, 3 different colors unlocked in mana. He plays a Lux down. Definitely what you want to have turn 2. If you're not playing a bird each of the first few turns, dragons kind of tend to slow down a lot. Looks like Jonah does not yet have a play, and he put down a Heretic Prince Varaka, which is a very strong card to have. Especially in a mirror match like this, he could just summon a bunch of birds and play that down, give everything fast attack, and just break a whole bunch of shields at once. So, it's a little unfortunate to see that go so early. Although he does play 3 of that card, which is unlike most people, and he did top 2 with a very similar deck list to this, if not the exact same. I am looking at their deck lists, and they are each a little interesting. I see that Samuel plays 2 Slumbering Titans, probably for the control match, for if they discard from the hands, and he also plays 1 Crimson Wyvern, definitely for the Herald match, or the Eternal Haven matchup, as Eternal Haven definitely will pick this deck apart if you do not have at least 1 Crimson Wyvern. You can see right now in the background of Jonah's face cam, you can see Trevor Sprague. He is our head judge for today. I'm not sure if they had a ruling or if he just doesn't have anything else to do right now. So, looks like both players now have an Infernus, Herald of Infernus, but Samuel McLean does definitely have that Piercing Judgment. He bounces a card, taps a creature, and gets to run over that bird with Herald of Infernus, dropping Infernus, the Awakened. So now he's definitely in the exact same type of position that Jonah was last game, with all the board presence. Looks like he's thinking about attacking with that Infernus the Awakened, but is not quite sure yet. Yeah, there he goes in for triple breaking. And Jonah gets the Bottle of Wishes. Now, Bottle of Wishes is definitely a card that a lot of people do not like. You can completely whiff it and get just some small creature that won't help you at all, or you could go and top deck an Andromeda and gain shields and field presence. But he gets Heretic Prince Baraka. Probably not the best thing to get off of it, especially in this current situation, because he lost. It's especially bad that Sam had that Keeper of Laws, as in, if he even had a Piercing Judgment and shields, he wouldn't have been able to target it with any spells or abilities. So it would have been able to attack anyway. So definitely good for Sam for leaving his attack for last. So now they're shuffling up, and we're about to go to game 3. Looks like Jonah and Sam were both laughing. They're definitely having a good game. It's nice when you get to see 2 players just be friendly. That definitely happens a lot in Kaijudo. I don't think I've met a single Kaijudo player who I dislike. Looks like Sky Crusher went into mana. He does play 3 of that. Some decks I only see play 1 or even 2, but he must have chose 3 for some reason. Definitely good against getting rid of birds or small blockers. So Jonah's playing down multi-civilization cards first before anything else into mana, which is probably the best play, especially with whatever kind of hand he has right now. As if whenever you put a multi-civilization card into mana, or multicolored card, you have to put it intact, so you cannot use it as mana for that turn. Now Sam looks like he has the first play he can put on board, which is a Keeper of Laws, which is definitely something good to play on turn 4. So now whenever Jonah does play a spell, Sam has the option to draw a card, which can give him hand advantage, which definitely makes it so he has more options of what to put into mana, and definitely can draw into some of his better cards earlier. Jonah also played a Firebird down in Nyx, plays Herald of Infernus down and draws a card off of Nyx too. So if he can Piercing Judgment next turn, he can return the Herald of Infernus of Sam's to hand, and then since Keeper of Laws is alone on the field, can be targeted by card effects, so it could be tapped by the Piercing Judgment, and then he can run over that with the Herald of Infernus and drop something big that's probably in his hand. So now Sam is hard casting Bottle right now, it looks like, hoping to get something really good off of top deck. Bottle of Wishes allows you to shuffle your deck, then reveal the top card. If it is a spell that's level 7 or less, it is immediately cast for free without paying any mana costs. And if it is a non-evolution creature, it is played for free. Otherwise, it goes to your hand. He gets Heretic Prince Baraka, which has fast attack and gives all his other creatures fast attack. It definitely gives him a reason to go in for shields right now. Heretic Prince Baraka also makes you send a card back to hand during the end of the turn. Excuse me. So he decides to send that Keeper of Laws back, definitely to protect it from the Herald of Infernus from running it over, which is definitely a good play. As I see, I think Jonah has at least another Herald of Infernus in hand that he could play off of attacking into it. And I just heard from upstairs, I heard Sam call a judge. I'm not entirely sure why. Jonah's raising his hand too. I think he may be asking about if Herald of Infernus crashes. I don't see what else that would have been about. I think that that's probably the Herald of Infernus attacking another one if it wins a battle or not, which would in fact be a no. They would both, since they both have the same amount of power, they would both lose that battle, and Herald of Infernus's ability would not trigger. It was definitely a good call to put Trevor as our head judge of today. I would definitely say that he knows his rulings pretty well. Unfortunately, there's not yet a judge program for this game, as it is barely over a year old. Looks like Jonah goes in and plays a Lux, which if one of his dragons would be banished, he can banish Lux instead. Lux is also another Firebird, so he plays that Herald of Infernus for 3 mana. Then draws off of Nyx, decides to crash his other Herald of Infernus into Sam's. Therefore, they both lose the battle, neither of them trigger. Sam puts that Keeper of Laws from before into mana and casts yet another bottle. Looks like this leaves him with 2 more mana to play with. If he has something like an Aqua Strider in hand, he can play that as well this turn. Definitely be a good play if he does have that in Aqua Strider in hand, as it would block those birds. Overall, I'm looking at their lists, and a lot of the cards are the same. Some of them are played in different numbers. It looks like Sam's is definitely more oriented for the control matchup, whereas Jonah's is just a little bit, I want to say, reckless, as in he wants to go and attack in for shields more often. Looks like Samuel gets another Heretic Prince Baraka off of his bottle, which does have fast attack, so he can attack and get all of Jonah's shields broken this turn. Like Jonah has that Andromeda to play, getting 2 more shields, definitely leaving him with a defense for next turn, as if he didn't, that Heretic Prince Baraka would definitely be hurting him and going for game, as I do not believe Jonah plays any blockers in his deck. He does not. Like Sam just passed his turn. Heretic Prince Baraka's ability does say that it has to one of your creatures does have to return to hand at the end of the turn, so he has to return that Baraka. Now Jonah is the one with a lot of field presence, and it looks like he plays a Lux, and I can't quite tell because of the glare what that is. Oh, a Infernus the Awakened, and he gets to draw off of Nyx with that, and just decides to wait to go for game, which is definitely a good strategy, as in he will be able to triple break with Infernus the Awakened, taking out 3 of Sam's shields, and then double breaking with Andromeda, breaking 2 shields, and then having 3 birds and a Herald of Infernus all able to go for game. So if he hits something like Piercing Judgment, he could still potentially go for game. Sam played that Heretic Prince Baraka down again. He got rid of Jonah's 2 last shields. He got off with the first Andromeda. But then Jonah is now just playing 1 more Andromeda down. So now not only does Jonah have another 2 shields, but the All-Strike ability will now trigger twice because of 2 different Andromedas. Looks like Jonah chose to go in with a couple Lux first. Oh, probably because he could have, Sam could have had something in his shields that could destroy small creatures like birds. I can definitely see why that would be a good play to go in first. It looks like Sam is just questioning about some, I think, attack order or something, why he chose to do it that way. And looks like they both had a good game. So, looks like Jonah takes round 1. So now he will be 1-0 going into round 2 of Swiss. And Sam will be 0-1 going into the second round of Swiss. We will have 5 rounds of Swiss before the top 8 cut. So, I will see if we can get one of these players down for a post-game interview, and I will be back in a minute. All right, so we're back with both players from our round 1 feature match. So Jonah, you won.
Yes, I won.
So how was that match for both of you guys?
Well, it's Dragon Mirror match, so very grindy, as always. I'm not sure if it was game 1 or game 2. After the match, we went and we discussed that we each had perfect progression. You basically have turn 2 or turn 3 bird, Nyx, into Herald, and then it was Lyra into Lyra. And I was the second person to play Lyra, where I can Lyra his bird instead of his other guy and attack with my Herald into his bird and get a trigger. But I neglected to do that and Lyra his Lyra, so we'd just be onboard parity and just not do anything for 2 turns, because sometimes you get a little fuzzy and you're like, I can either attack and get ahead, or I can not do what my cards do and just walk. Let's just do the same thing and be in the same board state next turn, and then I'll decide what I need to do. So that was my only big, yay, let's go screw up and play around a little bit longer. And
I totally have to keep down his Herald though.
yeah,
I was so scared.
so
Yeah, so I saw, Sam, you play the Slumbering Titans.
Yeah.
That's definitely for all those decks that are discarding and to control and stuff, right?
Yeah, like Matting Whispers I thought would be like really big, like during KMCs. When I went to Connecticut, I ran into Kalima deck, and then 2 control decks, one being Blurple, and like they both played like a lot of discards, so Slumbering Titan definitely came down. And a lot through playtesting, School of Scourge, here, 2 Slumbering Titans, 2 Double Breakers.
Yeah, so you definitely didn't need that in the Dragon Mirror,
Yeah,
so you just put them down to mana. So.
Free mana. Free mana.
And you also had Aqua Striders.
Yeah.
Those were definitely good for a Dragon Mirror because bird aggro is a thing.
I wasn't so worried about that, because if he swung into like a bottle, then like I get Infernus, like, yay, your bird dies.
Kill him.
And then if I was lucky and I like bottle into Herald, and they'd just be like, balls, 2 bodies.
Yeah, definitely good to at least have some sort of a blocker just in case.
Yeah.
Now you had Jump Jets. I saw on the
I
checklist.
have jump jets.
I didn't see any.
I went
but
and, I
heard
went
of
and
them.
swung for game 1, and I hid the jump jets. I didn't play them, and then in my last hand, if he had a Storm Spark, I'm probably just dead because I only have 2 shields, but I have 2 Andros out, and I know he has Heretic. While I have Infernus out, he can't just play like a bird and Heretic and swing for 3 shields. But Jump Jets was possibly, I was going to play it when we got into the Herald Nyx Lyra parity that one time, but I'm like, that's when I called for the judge to see how Lux Herald sack, does it win the battle or does it just draw? In which case it's just a draw, so I would just lose a Lux and nothing would happen.
Can't
So
make Herald too broken.
so instead I just played a Lux, a Herald, drew a card, and then just suicide to have them both die. But if it wasn't the case, I could have gone Lux, Herald, Jump Jets, the new one, swing in with that one, trade, then trigger. All while maintaining a board presence as opposed to just going 1 for 1. Okay, go ahead. But Jump Jets is pretty good in the mirror match, because if you ever get somebody clogging the board with birds or just like bouncing tempo plays with either Finbar or like not Piercing Judgment, you can just play your Herald down, Jump Jets it, and attack, swing into whatever you just tapped with a Piercing Judgment. So it's pretty good. Compliments to Jerry Thompson, who came up with the deck list. I bumped it a little bit, but all in all, Jump Jets is really, really good, and Drill Storm, also for the bird aggro matches, where they go and get aggressive and nobody has Herald, and you just blow out their board.
You didn't like Barrage more than like Drill Missile?
You can hit, in like Blurple, the power and toughness ratio changes, so Barrage can't hit all of them. Also, versus like Monolight's power and toughness is very skewed, like up the curve. Like they have 1500 on Cloudwalker, they have like 35 on their Prism Blade Protector, the 2 mana Yeah, 25. So they have that guy, but they all scale up. So barrage won't take out any of those. Also, it hits a lot of the Dracons in case you face like mono red. So it's also cheaper than barrage. Like I'd say arguments for playing one or the other depending on what. Drill Storm is definitely better than barrage in like the aggro mirror matches or in the bird matches where your birds are all different power and toughness except for Nyx and Umbra, but it just clears everything out.
Okay.
So
Makes more sense.
sweet little tech.
Yeah. So is there anything else you guys want to say?
I didn't misplay game 3. I was totally waiting for him to drop the second Andromeda. Infernus did come down.
Infernus locked it up.
I do remember. I think it was game 3. There was a point when I think you just had like a Herald of Infernus and Keeper of Laws on board, and I'm like, if Jonah has that piercing judgment, you are screwed.
Yep.
Yeah, and
Didn't
then
have it.
I bottled into Rock. I'm
We
like,
bottled into Baraka, and I'm just like dead to it.
I had to get rid of my keeper. Like, no.
Yeah. Bottle into Heretics, quite a problem when it's like, oh, I'd swing at all your shields and break all of them and pass to you. Hope you have nothing. I luckily had the Andromeda, but bottle into Heretic the second time, having a board of Heretic, not so,
It's
not something you want to play against.
Definitely not.
All right. Well, thanks for coming down and talking to us.
Totally.
Might see you guys in future
Later on in the day.
matches.
Sweet, yeah.
So,
Thank you for having us.
Hello, Twitch.tv. We are now back with round 2. This is actually table 1. And we have actually a match of Aiden Thorne versus Zach Murphy. Now, these two were our final round matchup for our Shattered Alliances set release. So that is why we chose them. They are also just happen to be table 1. So, I don't know. People who know Aiden before, he has a haircut, so he looks completely different than he's looked before. So yes, they were first and second for our Shattered Alliances set release. So this should definitely be a good match. And I'll have their deck lists coming to me soon. Alright, looks like they're both shuffled up and ready to go. And here's the deck lists. Looks like Zach is playing a dragon build with darkness, light, fire, water. Is there water? Yep, there's water in here. And Aiden is playing Blood Bowl. Probably a build similar to what he brought to the Connecticut Kaijudo Master Challenge. Alright, so it looks like they've started. Zach's gotten definitely a good opening. He's got Umbra and Nyx out. Aiden has I know it might be hard to tell for some, but an Aqua Seneschal. It is just the Walmart promo version of Aqua Seneschal. So, that's why the holo's like that. Now, I know a couple of my friends and I like to bust Aiden's chops for the way he lays down his shields, where they all overlap on top of each other. So, at times, maybe on the stream here, for some of you, it might be hard to tell how many shields he has, but he does have 5 at this time. If it changes, it'll be easy to spot. Looks like he Rusalkas to bounce a Nyx back to hand, and then breaks a shield with Aqua Seneschal. Since Aqua Seneschal attacked, he is allowed to draw a card before the attack goes through. Again, if you guys have any questions about what's going on in the match, or just any questions about the tournament or the store in general, you can message on here on Twitch.tv, or you can tweet at Kerwin Game Store. So Aiden put down a Freakus test subject into mana. It's a very cool card as it has Slayer. And I believe it's unblockable. Aiden Bone Blades to get rid of the Umbra, breaks another shield with Rusalka. So Aiden's definitely has somewhat of a tempo going on, and he's breaking Zach's tempo by getting rid of his birds. Zach does play Herald of Infernus, which is going to scare Aiden away from, attacking with anything smaller than it for right now. But of course, Aiden has the play of Emperor Dendrite. He plays down just any Cyberlord and then immediately evolves it. Bounces that thing back to hand, and he can double break immediately because evolution creatures do not come in with summoning sickness. So Zach's only down to 1 shield now, so he's definitely not in the best position. Zach's thinking about his next move. He definitely has to play it carefully. He's going to Storm Spark Blast and then Terror Pit. So maybe he has Fast Attacker? So those two were from his shields. That's why he played them like that. The double break from Emperor Dendrite. So it looks like he's probably going to have some way to kill that Usaka, or else the Storm Spark would have just gone to hand. Looks like he puts down General Finbar into mana, so that he can Terror Pit that Usaka. Now Aiden definitely makes the strong play of Cyber Scan. So if Zach ever plays a spell, Aiden gets to look through his deck and play another Cyber Scan for free from it. Now, an interesting ruling with Cyber Scan is you still have to search your deck, even if you know there are no more copies of that card in your deck. So, definitely